Hey everybody, it's Barbie at Nellie Ruth Designs. Welcome back. Today I'm going to be creating another dream page in my dream book. And I didn't really have to think about it. I have so many dreams and, oh, I wish I had, or too bad I couldn't have, that I think about. This was the last dream page that I created in my book on March 7th. I just have to decide, and I guess we can decide together once you see what I'm going to put in here, if I should do a single page or if I'm going to have enough to do a double page again. But we'll see. Let me show you what today's dream is all about. I always dreamt, didn't always dream, back in probably 2000 and I don't know, maybe 15, when I really started to hike a lot. And I was always out in the woods. I was traveling to different places to hike. I live in a large area where you can go to either the mountains of Vermont, the Green Mountains of Vermont. You can go down to the Catskill Mountains down in the southern tier of New York. I've been out in the western part of the state, out near Ithaca and Utica, hiking out in Watkins Glen. And then, of course, I have the Adirondacks, the high peaks right here in my backyard, and the surrounding beautiful mountains around our lake. So, a lot of times when I'm in the woods, my dad was a big fisherman, and I always thought, I dreamed about years ago, it's too bad that my dad wasn't a hiker. He traveled all over. He traveled to Vermont to find the best fishing hole. He traveled up into the Adirondack Mountains along the Au Sable to find the best fishing spot. He was a big fly fisherman, and he was always catching brook trout and bringing it home for us to have for dinner, along with a big bag of milkweed. And we would just have milkweed. He would boil that up, pluck the leaves, boil it up with a piece of salt. What do they call that? Oh gosh, salt pork he'd throw in, and he would boil up the leaves and he'd drain them. We'd have milkweed with butter and a lot of salt and pepper. Sometimes we would put a little bit of vinegar on it, not too often, and then he would cook up the trout on the grill out back, and that was our meal. I can remember as a little girl sitting on the picnic table, and he'd have paper. He would have newspapers all on the picnic table, and I would help him clean the fish. And I always thought it was my older brother, used to fish with him a lot. And, it's just the timing. I was in high school. I was busy with my friends. And when I was younger, he used to take me fishing, not fly fishing. But, he taught me how to put the worms on the hooks, and we would fish down in a little section where I grew up. But I always dreamt that. I always, had visions of my dad hiking with me and bringing the fishing poles and just spending a day fishing together and just enjoying nature together. That's one thing that we never got a chance to do, and I do dream about that a lot and think about it. So I wanted to do a page. Again, I had relatives that lived out in the Pacific Northwest, out in just outside of Seattle, and my dad's relatives were out there, and he used to go out and fish with his uncle a lot. And when he was in the service, he would stop and see his brother out in Washington, and his brother and his father and he would go fishing. So I found my atlas, and I want to put a map in of Washington State. So, and I want to circle some of the places that I knew he went to, and where, I went out at one point to visit my aunt. And so I thought I would, kind of put a little radius around that and add that. So I have the map of Washington State. And let's see. So then I also got my Cookout USA book, and this goes by states in here. So I wanted to see what was in here for, again, Washington. And they just have this one paged here. They have a recipe for planked salmon. So obviously when my dad was out in Washington State, that's what he fished for. He fished for salmon and trout. So I thought I would include the planked salmon text here. And then, because they are known for their totem poles, I thought I would add this little bit here. And that's all that I have on, that's all that they give me on Washington State. So I thought I would incorporate that in my collage. And I did buy this book a couple years ago from a gal on Instagram, and I bought it just for, it's all about fishing, to work in my dad's scrapbook with all of his fishing. Love Me Tender Vintage. That must be who I bought it from. I have a lot of fishing photos of my dad when he was a younger man, when he was in the service, right up until he stopped fishing. So I thought I would incorporate some advertising in the collage as well. So this is a great book. This has everything. Your tackle boxes. I don't know if it has a krill in here. But this is a really, really nice book if you want to, do boating, but mostly, fishing collages, add to your junk journals. I should just do a whole junk journal, a fishing junk journal, and then put my dad's, his photos in that. And it'll be fun because he used to tie his own flies. I can remember him sitting at the table at night tying flies, getting ready for the weekend fishing excursion. So this is a fun book here. So I'll be using this. And then I wanted to incorporate, because I do like to incorporate flowers. This book here is old and tattered. It's Wildflowers of America. And this is a wonderful book if you want to incorporate some very stunning traditional flowers in a junk journal or make tags. But it's old, it's falling apart. And I like to fussy cut these and use on larger scrapbooking pages because I just think they're so, so pretty. Yeah, you can see this here. It's just disintegrating before my eyes. So let's get this cleaned up here. So I found in here, I wanted to see what the state flower of Washington was, and it's the rhododendron. And I did find a rhododendron in here. I don't know if I bookmarked it or not. Oh, here it is here. This is a Rose Bay rhododendron. So I think I'd like to use this, and I probably will use a double page spread because this is so large, but I think that would be really pretty incorporated in there. And the other thing I would like to put in there is just some wildflowers. because they were always along the bank, the fishing bank. So I may add, it's too bad I couldn't find some pussy willows, because that's one thing that was always brought home with the fish, was a big grouping of pussy willows. But so I'm going to incorporate the state flower for Washington. And then, because when my dad and I were always together, and when I'm on the hiking trail, he was always whistling or singing or something. And we would ride along. So I just can imagine if we were on a road trip together, we would be singing and listening to music. So I found, I thought this would be cute. Shoe fly, don't bother me. So I wanted to incorporate that as well on the page. I looked through here to see if there was any other songs that I could incorporate, or my dad whistled or sang, but this was one when I was little. So I'd like to incorporate that. And then, if we were to go cross country, I would imagine that we would take my dad had a van, and I just dreamed where a lot of people live in vans, and they hike, they're out west, and it's really cool to see how some of the vans had been converted. So, when I'm thinking about, how nice it would have been to do this with my dad, this is a photo. To me, it looks like almost like a trailer that has been converted. And I just wanted to put this in here because I thought it would be cool that, you know, it would have been really fun to convert the van and live in the van and travel cross country with my dad. It would have made a really nice trip. So I've had this for quite some time, and I think this would be a lot of fun to incorporate in my dream page. So I have that, and then I have this picture here of the evergreens and a guy fly fishing. So I'm going to try to incorporate and make a nice collage in my dream book, and we can get started. So I think I will do a double page just because of the flowers there. And you don't have to, with a book like this, you really don't have to go in order. So I'm not too concerned about, turning the page and having the date the same. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some of this stuff out and get it ready, and then I can see exactly how I will put it down. So you'll have to let me know if you're thinking about making a dream book. Because I think it's quite relaxing. And it takes your mind off of current events, and I find it to be a good escape, kind of like reading a book. Kind of like reading a book. which yesterday I finished my book by, I can never remember his name. His first name is his first name Bill? Isn't that awful? Yeah, Bill O'Reilly. I don't know why I can never remember his name. I have a hard time. But I finished his book that he wrote with another called Killing Jesus, and it was excellent. It was very good, and they did a really good job in sticking with the book of Matthew, and then in the back of the book, I did have a hard time. I had to take my car for service, and it was going to be a 2-hour wait. And I said, well, I'm not going to sit there and look at my phone. That's just a waste of time. And I didn't want any handwork to bring down. So I did bring my little scissors. If I have them, I don't. I'll use these. So I said, I'm going to finish my book. So I brought it, and I finished it right. I just got done reading the summary of where Bill, did his research on his writing and where he went. He actually went to Jerusalem because he said he really wanted to get a feel before he started writing, and he said it was just unbelievable. And that's another page I need to do. I've always dreamed about going to Jerusalem and walking the paths that Jesus walked, and going to the Mount of Olives, but I know that's not ever going to happen. And going to his tomb, and so that I'm going to have to put on my list to make a dream board. But I was in the car dealership, and I was reading. My husband went with me. He took the afternoon off just to get out of the office for a little bit, and I'm reading the part, where they're flogging and crucifying, and a couple times I had to shut the book and take a breather, because I knew I was going to start crying, and I didn't want everybody looking at me like, what is wrong with you? But I finished it, and it was a very, very, very good book. My husband also has the books Killing Kennedy, Killing Lincoln, and I don't know if there was another one or not, but I'd like to read those now. And just kind of see. But I started a book last night that I still call her, she's my stepdaughter-in-law. And she's actually remarried. But she gave me a book at Christmas. I think it's called The Witch's Hour. And I thought, I don't know if I want to read that or not. And I read I don't know, is it the prelude? The prelogue? I don't know. I read the did a little bit of research on it, and because I didn't want to read about witchcraft and I don't know. But so I read the inside and did a little research, and I thought, okay, there are a lot of, she's a godly woman in a bad situation. So I said, I am gonna read this. So I started that last night, and oh, I love it. So far, it's excellent. So I just got off the phone with Karen and told her I started that book. I sent her for Christmas. I sent her the book Killing Jesus, and she finished it, loved it, and she's now, which I'm very happy about, she's picked up the Bible and she's doing Bible study, and she's also, she subscribed to the Unashamed podcast, so she's listening to the Robertson Men and getting a good dose of the Bible for an hour. So that made me happy. Okay. All right, so this is done here. And I'm just going to kind of lay this on I want to see how much room this takes up. So I kind of know where to go here. All right, so that will be on one side. Okay, that'll work out. Where if I did it on just one page, well, we'll see. We'll get everything cut out, clipped out. So I think we can get, let's take this out here. Okay. And I will cut that down so we have that and that. Then we are going to, I'm going to want this here. Puget Sound area. And that's where my aunt lived, up in the Puget Sound. Let's see I'm not going to take that salmon because I like this picture here, and I may use that. So I will find something in another book, and then we are going to take, let's get the Washington State here. I'm wondering if I should use something a little less glossy. I think I will check my books and see. This might be a little, but it might give a little bit of oomph to the pages as well, because this is so dull, and yeah, I think we will use this one. Let's get this again. want to be careful because I don't, my luck, I would not cut through all the way and I would rip and tear, and I would tear it right down the middle. And then I wouldn't have it at all. Okay, so there is Washington. So we have that, we have that. We have these two. And I think I'm going to cut this out and around. And then I can fill the background in with some of the pages from the fishing book. So all right. Okay, so we have those cut out. So I've decided I'm going to use 2 pages for this. I think that'll work out well. So let's start right here. And I hope it's not too glossy. These are, like I said, these are glossy pages. And I think what I will do is I'm going to use some of the pages in here as my backdrop, okay? That way I'll be able to get some of the, hip waders. I'll be able to get this get my fishing ephemera in here. So I'm going to start with some advertising. To put in here. And I have to be mindful that if I'm going to put my Washington map here, I only want to fill in towards the top. And again, I will have, maybe I will just use some terms because I'm going to have the flower over that as well. So we'll just kind of start to do a little layout here. And because I don't want to tear out and use more pages than, that I don't have to. And I'm going to rip and tear here. So I think these will go up towards the top, which will be good. All right, so let's get those up there. Today is Friday here. I'm working on a Friday late morning, early afternoon schedule doing this. My husband's out running some errands. And I figured it would just be a good day to play a little bit here in my room. My girlfriend sent me a text this morning, wanted to know if I wanted to walk with her, but she's been sick. She had a really bad stomach bug, and I didn't want to go. She says she's all better, but I'm leaving next week, which probably when this airs, I'll be back from my trip. But I'm going, I'm taking off on a little trip next week, and I don't want to get sick. I'm not taking a chance because I'm driving, and there is no way I'm going to get sick for this trip. And I've been sick before traveling on the road, where I've actually ended up in the hospital, and it is no fun. And I don't even want to think about getting sick. All right, so this is going to be, I don't want to cut, I guess I could cut that. Maybe I could cut it down, and then I could add something else. So I'm going to get a different ripper. This is my ripper from Creative Memories. And I'm going to rip, I will rip it just like this. Then I can use that over on that side. And I'm going to put another fishing page, some fishing terms or whatever. Ghost line. I'm going to use this here. And that could, yeah, put that here. Okay. I'm going to get a book so I can that. I don't know. Oh, here it is. Right here in front of me. Right here in front of me. So this morning when I like to get caught up on my videos in the mornings when I'm having my coffee. And this morning I was watching Liz over at Buttons for Brains, and she just finished a project that is just so cute. You have to go check it out. She took I think it was a Laughing Cow cheese round box, and she made a little junk journal out of it. And oh my, it is the cutest project. She did such a fabulous job on it. You should go check that out. And if you don't follow Liz, follow her. She does the sweetest projects, and I really like it because she uses her stamps a lot. And that's one thing that I haven't done. I have a lot of stamps, but after watching her and all her sweet little projects, I'm determined to start using more of my stamps, because she'll stamp and then she paints. She'll use either her watercolor pencils or markers or whatever. And oh, her projects are just so cute. So head over there and give her some love if you've never seen her account. It's just, she's over in Scotland. And just to hear her accent is just heartwarming. And I'm trying to think who else that you could also go and look at Tape and Twine, Michelle's account. She has a really nice account too. Little different, you know, than the norm, you know, of creating and making. But I like Michelle's account because she brings a lot of products to the forefront and a lot of books. She'll do a lot of show and tells and help you find books. She has a cousin by the name of Sue that is, everybody wants a cousin Sue. After you see Michelle's her videos and what her cousin Sue holds and you know, finds and sends to her, everybody wants a cousin Sue. So on this page here, I'm going to do it now because I don't want to, and I think I would do it with marker, but because this is shiny, I think it would smudge. So I'm going to do it with pen. And I'm going to place on here where I would have dreamed of going with my dad if we took a fishing trip, a cross-country fishing trip out to see our relatives. So I have a cousin that's up in Bellingham. So I have a nickel here, and I'm just going to circle Bellingham. So my cousin lives in Bellingham, so I have that circled. My aunt and my other cousin lived, my aunt, she passed away, God rest her soul, in Tacoma. And my cousin, I have other cousins in Tacoma. And I think that is it. So we would have traveled, obviously cross country, and I don't know if we would have come down through Portland. We would have had to look at the map. We would have come up. And I know my dad, he also fished down near Olympia. So we have these two here connecting right up through here. So that's where we would have traveled between once we got there. So let's add some more backdrop. Let's add our backdrop to the right-hand page. Some rods. And again, I'm just trying to, because I'm going to, I'll probably put over here, and maybe I won't even add that. Maybe I'll just cut out Washington. So I could probably do a few more. We could add, I'm going to add this one here because this has the fly fishing on it. Spinning reel. That's not for. We could do one with reels. There's a lot of reels in here. And then I think I will just get, oh, here we go. I could add this Washington. I could add this up towards the top. That way, that'll be good. I can add that. All right, and because that's got a white border, I don't have to, I'm just going to rip and tear that one. All right, so let's get this down. And I have to be careful of this paper because it is old. And I don't want it on the front of the fishing book. No, 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 no. There we go, that's good. And you can see I should have put this one down first. I wasn't thinking, but that's okay. I'm just going to, because I don't want it to be straight. I don't want those straight edges. There we go. I think I will glue, I think this time again I will glue the, and then I can touch it up. And again, I have to be a little careful because it is fragile. And then this one here, you can see where these already started to rip and tear. So you'll have to fill me in if you've ever fished, if your dad fished. My Uncle Al, my mom's brother, used to go with my dad all the time. That was their weekend activity. They could not wait to go fishing. Let's see if I can move this a little bit. Move it over just a tad. At least with the Yoo-hoo, you can manipulate these pages a little bit better. It's just hard to see, for me to see here the edges without overlapping, going on to the next page. So I just want to be careful there. Okay. All right, so we have that. All right, so what do we have next? Where is this is my postcard, and I think I'm going to cut this down a little bit. I'm thinking about putting the van life here. I think I'm going to put the fishing down in this area. I think I'm going to cut out this. I think I'm going to cut the totem pole out. I think that's what I'm going to do. Instead of just doing the, and I think I'm even going to take the white off. I'm just going to literally cut the totem pole out. You know, I admire, I'm doing the Marguerite, as you know, the Marguerite Miller Weekly Collage Challenge, and I really admire Marguerite because she has to come up with these prompts, and they all seem to work. I mean, you know, if she put in here a totem pole and, you know, a fishing reel, you know, I mean, I would look at it and say, oh, you got to be kidding me. Because I do like to tell a story when I collage. I just think it makes it more interesting. All right, so we have this. And let's see, I want to use the flower. Maybe I will put the flower, so I have to cut this flower a little bit more. And I just have to figure out which root I want to go. I think I'll take that. I'll take this. I think I will. I think I'll go this route here. And we'll mix some of the white in with the well, we're just going to have to, you know, once you start, you don't want to stop. All right, so we have that. Then we have this, which I would probably maybe put up along the side and then cut off of the edge. So we have this flower here, which actually could come up a little bit. And then over here, we have this, which I could put down over here. Let's cut this off here. It doesn't need to be so leggy. It doesn't need to be so leggy. We could put that like that. We have the fishing spot. And I think it would be nice if we put the totem pole over here with the Washington State. and I have my, I want to put in my shoe fly. So I think I'm just, for this, I think I'm going to have some fun with this. And I am going to cut out the shoe fly, don't bother me. And because what happens when you fish, when you fly fish or fish anytime, you have constant flies around you. You have mosquitoes, black flies, depending on where you are. So I have the shoe fly, and I'm going to do something that Liz would do over at Buttons and Buttons for Brains. She would have fun with this. So we have the shoe fly. All right, so I'm going to gather something a little extra that I didn't plan on, and we're going to be adding some fun little critters to this. So let me go get what I want to use, and I'll be right back. So I thought we'd have some fun. I have everything pretty much glued down. I'm just deciding what I want to do with these. If I want to cut these off and just have these up here. I haven't glued these down yet, but I just thought it would be fun. I have the Stampers Anonymous, the collection. This is the etymology, and I thought it would be fun to put some flies around the pages here, just to make a little little more whimsical. And I do have, I think what I'd like to do is stamp some on some of this vellum that I have left over from other, that might be kind of fun, other projects I've done. So I thought I'd stamp a few and then place them around and about. So this here looks like a bug that would be bugging us when we were fishing. This one definitely does. This one here. And this one here. This looks like a nasty thing that would be flying around our heads when we were trying to relax and do some fishing. There. Let me get this lined up. Okay. All right, so I have my VersaFine. And let's stamp on the vellum first, and we'll see how that works out. And I like to take my pad. That way I can kind of see. Now, I'm also going to stamp here, maybe take a little bit off. I want to see how bright that's going to be. So let's try this. There we go. I'll do a couple of these bad boys. All right. Then we're going to do, we'll do a couple of these nasty little critters. Yeah, they look, I would not want them buzzing around and stinging me. And then this is a little bee. Now, in where we live, we have horseflies, and this actually looks like a little horsefly. And horseflies are nasty. Boy, if you get bit or stung by a horsefly, that is not fun at all. All right, so we have these. And I think what I will do is, once again, I'm going to cut these because I don't know how the vellum would tear. So I'm just going to cut these out. And we'll we'll add these around our pages. Now, if you were doing this on plain paper, you could have, or you could add some watercolor. But seeing that I have done these on the vellum, and I'm hoping it's smudging a little bit. I'm hoping that these will dry. Let's take a look. I don't want them. That one's kind of wet. I'm wondering if I shouldn't use the VersaFine on vellum. So let me see something here. I happen to have my little napkin here that I work with. And I'm just going to blot this. I may have to use regular, yeah, I'm going to have to use regular paper. Because these here are not drying. I like them on the vellum though. I'm going to get my blower and I'm going to see if I can dry these with my blower. Well, the heating, my heater didn't work on the, I really want to use vellum. So what I did was I went and I got my Versamark, and I'm going to use my Versamark, and I'm going to use this Enchanted Gold by Ranger, the embossing powder, and I think these will look really pretty. I'll do it in gold. So we got one. It is on there. I'm just going to do all of these at the same time. And I had to clean my stamps really good because they were so black. With my VersaFine, I use my Stays-On cleaner. I like to have a nice clean stamp. Okay, that's those. And then let's get this one on here. So I think these will be, I like this idea even more, using the Stays-On. It's been a while since I've done this as well, and I really like using my embossing powders, and so it's probably a nice little mistake that brought me to this. Okay. And then we will just heat these little guys up here. And then I don't have to worry about them running or smudging. All right. Okay, so they're all heated up, and you can see the gold color. They're really pretty. They'll be pretty on the page. So we'll cut those out. And I think they will be fun. I also have black, but I just thought the gold might be a nice little. So let's see if this works. It gets to a point where I guess sometimes it's just trial and error. Yeah, see, I think I'm going to have to do the black because the gold really doesn't. See, these I will save for something else. But I think I'm going to have to do the black. So let's do, as we're going into our second hour here of crafting with Barbie. Isn't that crazy? How about if we do some blue? I also have red. We could do, let's try both. Might as well just figure this out once and for all, right? Like I said, as we're heading into hour 2, I may have to make this a 2-parter. But you know what? At least I will have these. For other projects if it doesn't work out on here. But I am, you know me, I'm bound and determined to make something work. These are by Stampin' Up. These embossing powders here. All right, let's just try this first before I go and do any others. Smells like crayons. All right, let's see. I think these will show up. I think these will show up. Yes, the red will show up. So we could do some red, and then I could do some blue. So these could be blue. These two here. Now this one, they're calling it blue tinsel. So let's see here. And this one is put out, I'll tell you who makes this in a minute. Hobby Lobby. So this is blue tinsel. Now, if you worked with fairies and you were doing fairy journals and things like that, these would be really pretty, the blue tinsel. All right. So we have those, and then we will do the horsefly And I'll show you the other colors that I have for that. So we can choose, so we have the red, we have the blue, I have a green. Green would be pretty. All right. And then maybe we can finish this. Now maybe we can finish it. So there we have all of our pesky flies. Let's bring this back over. We've got the shoe fly, don't bother me. And I'm going to put that right, I'm going to adhere that right there. And then we will put our flies around the pages, and we will call it a day. How about that? We will call it a day. And a very long video. So for anybody that stuck around to the very end and didn't skip, didn't get aggravated, but they were patient and wise and kind, thank you. But sometimes it's good to see where, you know, you have an idea and then things change, and you have to change things up because it just, what you envisioned in your mind didn't work, and oh well, so be it, just move on. And I have some real pretty gold flies. Not that flies are pretty, but the gold is. And they'd probably be pretty set against a navy blue or a black backdrop. So I will stick them in my little use it up bin. And just maybe Marguerite Miller will want a blue bug. So we'll get these cut out. But I think these add some fun elements to the page as well. I'll just get these cut out, then we'll, and I like that little bit of color and sparkle on this page, on these pages. And see, when you start out, when you know, you have a vision, how things change. I mean, if I hadn't chosen the Shoe Fly, Don't Bother Me song, I would have never thought of, you know, when I just went with the title, going and adding some cute little flies in the mix that can terrorize you when you're out in the out in nature. But I think the thing that terrifies me the most are ticks. I am deathly afraid of ticks, tick bites. I've seen what can happen to people that get bit by ticks. And in some cases, it can be debilitating. To the point where I had one sitter for my boys that her sister had Lyme disease, and she tried to commit suicide because she had it for so long, and she had to just be constantly in a dark room, and it was terrible. I felt so bad for the woman. All right, so let's add these. And we will be done. So I'm definitely going to put one up here, right around. I'm going to put a smaller one over around here by the fly fisherman, because that's where they like to hang out as well, buzzing around your head. Okay, we have a red one that I just ripped in half, but don't worry about that, because when you work with delicate papers, that can happen. But see that? We can just piece it right back together. See? You would have never known that I ripped that in half. Just par for course today. Just par for course. All right. All right, and we're going to add another one up here. And then we will add the last blue one, because I do want to use them all. I think they are just fun. Okay. And I'm going to put the other one right over here. I'm not going to cut that leaf off. And this last green one, I'll do a nice little row of them up the side here. There. I'm going to put this one right here. There. Wow, it is done. It is finished. My desk looks like a tornado hit it. I'm just going to move everything out to the side. I'm going to clip this leaf off here so it's even with the page. All right, so there you have it. That is this week's My Dream Board book. Dreaming of fly fishing with my dad years ago. It would have been a wonderful, wonderful adventure if we had gone out to the West Coast to fly fish with the family in a camper van. So, oh, it is done, my friends. It is done. So let me know how you like it. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. If you're new to my channel, thank you for being so patient during this process, and I'd love to have you subscribe, and I will see you as we turn the next page. All righty, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.